With the goal of reducing bureaucracy and speeding up the permanent residency process, the Albanese government plans to implement a three-tiered examination into Australia's migration system. As a result of a migration review, Home Affairs Minister Clare O'Neil said at the National Press Club on Thursday that the government will move to replace labour market tests with new skills evaluations and pledged fairer pay requirements for entering migrants. Improvements will be made to the visa system. The international student visa will no longer be used as a de facto work visa, and the points system for permanent migration will be reworked to favour those who can contribute the most to Australia's economy. On Friday, the National Cabinet will meet in Brisbane to begin planning with the states for services and infrastructure to accommodate population expansion. O'Neil called it a bit startling since there was no genuine mechanism at the moment for us to plan for population changes. O'Neil stated that all temporary skilled workers will have a pathway to permanent residency by the end of 2023, following further consultation and the execution of the government's final strategy. O'Neil claimed that quality of our migration program was the main concern, and he initially tried to avoid the question of whether or not this strategy would lead to a big Australia or a small Australia. O'Neil responded to the criticism, saying, "If we implemented all the things I've discussed, the consequence of that would be a smaller migration program for the country." More than 1 million individuals are waiting for visas, and Prime Minister Anthony Albanese claimed the migration system that we inherited was broken before O'Neil's address. To better serve Australia's national interests, we need to make sure that we identify the skills we need, identify the regions where we need additional workforce, and tailor our migration system, as Albanese put it. The primary recommendation of the report is to establish 3 levels of regulation for migrants: a light-touch approach for highly skilled workers earning high salaries, a middle-income cohort of workers earning above the temporary skilled migration income threshold, and a low-income cohort working in sectors with skill shortages such as the caregiving industry. The federal government has agreed to implement this suggestion and will consult with the states, the private sector, labor unions, and civil society to set the maximum rate. O'Neil said at the press club that the second-tier salary requirement for temporary skilled migration would increase to $70,000 from the current $53,900. O'Neil said this was the Goldilocks number since it would provide a skilled worker program, not a guest worker program without excluding younger individuals. O'Neil promised proper, capped, safe, tripartite pathways for workers in key sectors, such as care, as the third tier of government action. According to O'Neil, the Government and Jobs and Skills Australia will perform proper, evidence-based assessments of skills needs instead of compiling job classifications. The existing outdated approaches that everyone agrees are not working will be replaced, she said, and that likely means the end of labour market testing, or the mandate that businesses post openings in the country first before recruiting from abroad. Adjustments to verify that international students are in Australia for study. And summary of the government's response by the Home Affairs Department reveals that adjustments will be enacted to ensure that all international students are genuinely in Australia to study, including tightening standards and increasing the quality assurance of education providers. It promised a smoother path to graduate visas and a shorter duration for students on bridging visas. O'Neil, speaking at the press club, suggested that a higher priority be placed on overseas students in order to meet requirements in the areas of care work, technology, engineering, and construction. An increase in the possibility of exploitation for temporary migrant workers was cited as a major worry by the reviewers. Employer sponsorship, in particular, created the opportunity for exploitation because it stifles the ability and willingness of an employee to report non-compliance, the report stated. Temporary migrant workers may be able to leave their current jobs and search for new ones in the same industry or field for up to 6 months under new proposals arising from the review. By increasing mobility of temporary migrants without risk their ability to stay in Australia, for example, the Albanese government agreed to greater protections. The administration has promised that migrants will have clearer pathways to permanent residence, eliminating the possibility of people being stuck in a permanently temporary status. According to the research, permanent migration has been capped at the present level of 195,000, but the number of temporary migrants has doubled since 2007 and now totals 1.8 million. While the coalition has been accusing Labor of wanting a big Australia, the Albanese administration has been working with state and territory governments to enhance investment in housing, infrastructure, and services in an effort to improve the social license for migration.
We will prioritize reforms that increase skilled migration over those that increase family migration.
The government need for reform of the family program was recognized, but will be considered separately from the late 2023 strategy, according to the outline. According to Nick McKim, immigration spokesman for the Green Party, no plan to fix a broken family reunion visa system by making it faster, fairer, and more affordable was included in the assessment.